I'm Joe Reed, and this is Behind the Mic with AudioFile Magazine. I have Michelle Cobb with me. She's the publisher of AudioFile. We're talking Audie winners. Michelle, today it's the best fiction narrator.
That's true, it is.
It is? Are you going to say who?
Julia Whalen for The Women by Kristen Hanna.
And I don't think this really surprised anybody.
No, this was, I think, one of the ones that I was predicting.
Yeah, it really is a tour de force. The Women is about a young nurse from Southern California who enlists in the army and is posted to Vietnam. This is set during the 1960s. She survives the trauma of bloody operating rooms and mortar attacks, but then her transition home really is very, very difficult.
This was an interesting category in general. I thought there's a lot of names that you recognize as being the greats in audiobook narration, and Dominique Hoffman for James has gotten a lot of accolades as well. Yeah, and certainly Saskia Marleveld and Stephen Fry, also known for their excellent audiobook narration. Elle Fanning, kind of new to the field, but yeah, in my mind, it was always going to be a little bit of a race between Julia and Dominic. um, but that's one of the things that I like now about these narration categories is that we do fiction and nonfiction, so you can get a really interesting mix of titles with some really wonderful performances that deserve to be next to each other, but wouldn't necessarily be in any other circumstance.
Yeah, I agree. I really like keeping those titles separate. It just opens it up so much more, opens up the awards so much more. And Julia is just skilled at so many genres, but boy, does she deliver in this book as Frankie McGrath.
She does indeed. I mean, everybody's been talking about this one for a while, from not just for the audiobook, but for the text. So it's nice to see that right mix of great text and great narration really bringing something special together.
Well, why don't we listen to a little bit now?
Great, let's do it.
This is Frankie who's just been certified as a registered nurse, and she's at her first hospital. It's in the States.
Frankie nodded and began her nightly rounds, going from room to room. It was almost 3 in the morning when she came to room 107. She opened the door gently, hating to waken the patient if she could help it. "Have you come to see the freak show?" Frankie paused, uncertain of what to do. "I could come back." "Stay, please." Frankie closed the door behind her and moved toward the bed. The patient was a young man with long, shaggy blonde hair and a pale, narrow face. A weedy patch of blonde and brown hair tufted above his upper lip. He looked like a kid you'd find surfing the break at Trestles, except for the wheelchair in the corner. She could see the outline of his legs, or his one leg, beneath the white blanket. "You can look," he said. "It's impossible not to. Who wouldn't look at a car wreck?"
Julia, what she is so good at, she is equally good at the narrative as she is with the characters.
Yes.
And I also think she is such an intelligent reader, aside from being a fabulous actress. She really is such a smart reader.
Yes, and you get a sense of her enjoying reading, which I think is important.
Hmm.
So I think that all of the greats in narration really do like books, and that comes across in the performance.
I agree. That was Julia Whalen, who won an Audie for Best Fiction Narrator of The Women, which is written by Kristen Hanna. And tomorrow, it's a special show. Tell us one more time what we can expect.
I'm going to be talking to Marshall Karp and January Lavoie about Don't Tell Me How to Die. It's a mystery with some interesting twists.
Okay, and I will be listening. Michelle, thank you so much. Have fun tomorrow.
Thank you. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Follow Behind the Mic wherever you get your podcasts and then leave us a rating because it does help people to find us. Today's episode of Behind the Mic is brought to you by Thomas Nelson, publisher of The Perfect Rom-Com, written by best-selling author Melissa Ferguson and narrated by Carissa Vacker. Available everywhere you get your audiobooks.